My expectations for the active approach were that the students will get inspired and also empowered to conduct their own research and really ultimately by the end of the course be able to conduct this kind of curious approach in a different cultural setting and develop a sensibility to the ethical concerns through discovery. So that part I think we have achieved. A lot of the students, especially the ones who traveled with us to Jordan, managed for the first time to, get out of their comfort zone, interact with another culture, ask questions in language that's not theirs, interact with people from various backgrounds, and also work in a very difficult context that they have never been exposed to. So in terms of those activities, I think the expectations were achieved. I've designed the activities myself, so especially for the different parts of the course, we would design even certain activities with students together. So there were projects on participation. For example, how do you get communities to participate in a project? So we would look into participatory art works and participatory design approaches, but then ultimately what students were doing was discussed and developed together with the students, tested and then revised through trial and error approach. So for example, at the very beginning of the course, we did a collective project called One Community. It was a project that evolved in response to the travel ban from the Islamic countries. And we invited MIT community for a cup of tea to address the kind of cultural rift between also us in the United States and Middle Eastern cultures, but also within United States, within our own campus community, to just create a platform for discussion. And to do that, we invited people for a cup of tea, so to invite their friends to host a tea party, using tea as a vehicle to bridge cultures, but also tea being something that's not originally from the United States, but actually comes from the East and has taken on cultural roots across the world. So you would host a tea party and also using tea from different cultures, and just to facilitate and foster friendships. So that worked with a couple of students who were driving the project, but not with the entire class, and also not with the entire community. We had to revisit and to say, okay, how do you, just because you wrote an email and asked people to do that, it doesn't mean that they will do it. So then we went on and with students designed different props and kind of inspirational photographs that could be kind of going on viral and be copied by other people. So this involved taking pictures of different teacups, but also taking pictures of your tea parties. And finally, the MIT libraries took on this approach and invited the entire school for a giant tea party at the library, and to which a lot of people came. And after we have taken these pictures, the action was starting to get bigger. I didn't necessarily measure exactly the time, but I have regular office hours with students and also regular working hours with my teaching assistant or co-instructor. So with a teaching assistant, I will meet 1 to 2 hours a week to discuss the next course and send out email, give instructions what needs to be adjusted for the next course. With co-instructors, I would usually meet after the class and discuss for half an hour how to calibrate certain issues. What is very interesting with this active learning approach, because the methods of teaching are constantly changing, you really have to have a regular meeting to assess after every class, okay, where are we standing now, what are we doing, and also to inform the participants in the class, summarize what is happening, and then what are the kind of next steps, especially if the plan is changing. This can be sometimes frustrating for the students because, you know, they just thought we are going to do this and then it turned out it doesn't work, and then you have to kind of change again. I assume that that will be something that will have some negative feedback, but at the same time, you know, for most of the students who have taken on this as their own project, especially when we discuss the plausibility and also rationale behind certain decisions, we managed to clarify these and to say it's not just because we have no plan what we are doing, but because these things after lessons learned from this don't make sense anymore.